Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, September the 23rd, 2021. It's another Technical Alpha podcast coming to you hot and fresh and ready. Not unlike a Hot Pocket right out of the microwave. Ice cold on the outside, scald and blister your mouth on the inside. I don't know how that analogy works. I'll let you figure it out. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new here, for the first time, we talk about video games, movies, and television, anything else that strikes our fancy. And as always, we try to work as many phallic-related jokes, analogies, and puns in as possible. And we ask that you don't question why. But before we get started, I have a very important question to ask, and that question is, of course, Mr. Black, how was your week?
I'm sick right now, so...
Truth! You've managed to come down with the, my son is a toddler and I have a head cold.
Yeah, so... I had a late night last night, couldn't, breathe, just so stuffed up, so uncomfortable. So yeah, I've been just chilling, just no energy.
Did you bathe in Vicks?
No, I didn't have any Vicks. So,
oh no, Vicks!
So I'm starting to feel a little bit better right now, but yeah, I'm gonna try and as soon as we're done this, I'm just gonna go right to bed and just sleep it out.
No Vicks is a bad time. You gotta at least have some Vicks in your life. That's like the core. I'm not even convinced that Vicks does anything. It's like the greatest placebo effect of all time. Like it might mildly open up your sinuses, and then beyond that, it's just like, oh, my mother lathered me in Vicks, and so it must do something. And so I too will lather myself in Vicks. You know, it's not entirely related to Vicks, but similar concept, I suppose. Like every night when we go to bed now, M was like a big fan of like lavender oil and stuff to help her sleep at night. And then she was like, the lavender oil was nice, but she was like, I feel like I wanted to get some peppermint oil. And so she bought some peppermint oil, not cooking version, but like actual peppermint oil like you would use in like a diffuser or on your, on your temples or whatnot at night. And she bought like the world's fucking biggest bottle. I mean, this shit's gonna last us until we're retired. I mean, it's like a fucking legit bottle. I mean, you don't use that much oil when you're using it because it's so strong. She's got a whole ass like big bottle of this stuff. And at first I thought she'd never get through it, but now I'm pretty sure it's going to be gone within the year, because at night when she gets in bed, and she's got like her face mask that she gets, she's all ready with her face mask. Girls, they get in bed sometimes, they wear like 400 fucking apparatuses. They got like their face mask on, and they've got like 16 different facial creams and whatever else they fucking put on. Men are just like taking their shirt off and like crawling in bed. So she's got like all of her lotions and potions on, and then she grabs the peppermint oil bottle now, and she literally like gets it on her palm, and she's like wiping the back of her neck and her stomach and her chest and her temples and shit. And then like we tend to fall asleep. Like we'll get too hot. I'm not the type of person that I can like sleep in a spoon position the whole night, because I get way too fucking hot. But we'll normally like fall asleep initially like in kind of like a spoon, big spoon, little spoon position. But now she got all this peppermint shit. It's like I take one breath, and my eyes are like watering. And one night in particular, we were spooning whatever, and we were touching hands, right? And then when I rolled back over to go to sleep, on my side of the bed, and I don't know about you, but I can't stand when my balls are stuck between my legs, so I have to like adjust myself before I go to sleep. That last minute adjustment. Oh, the peppermint, I was wearing boxers where there's no button, it's just kind of a slit, and so like just enough of my hand got my dick, and I had peppermint oil all over my hand.
Oh no.
And so it was like back in high school when they used to do like hazing and sports teams with icy hot in your fucking nuts? It was basically like that. And I was laying in bed and I was like, I'm just gonna keep ignoring it, and it just kept getting like hotter and hotter and hotter and burning more and more, and I was like, oh my fucking god, it's peppermint oil. It's like my dick was just burning and everything smelled like peppermint, and I couldn't fucking sleep, and it was brutal. And I looked over at M, and M was just like out cold. I was like, well, at least it's working for you. So there you go. Anyway, only tangentially related to Vicks, but kind of a similar effect. I'll tell you what, my sinuses have never been more open.
There you go.
When I go to bed now, the whole room just smelling like a fucking geriatric ward at this point, with all this peppermint oil. No, the sheets don't really get oily because she's just putting it like, on her fucking, she's not spraying it on the pillow or whatever. Anyway, it's no Taking Alpha podcast. My week was kind of whatever. I played a bunch more Magic. My legs have been kind of ass this week, so I've been playing exclusively Magic. I've been wanting to finish Forgotten City, but I can't stand still long enough to do like games where I have to stand at my keyboard and desk. Like Magic, I can do a turn and then I can be like, okay, walk around the room, do some laps, do other shit. Whereas if I'm playing like a regular game, I can't really do that. And if I stand still, my legs just get fucked. So I've been playing lots of Magic the Gathering, been building my own decks because I'm stubborn and I refuse to net deck. And I started to make like a semi-serious climb, and I got like right to the brink of Mythic, which is like global ranking, with two of our decks that we built in the last week. But man, like it reminded me why I don't do competitive shit seriously anymore. Like ever since back when StarCraft was first coming out, and I had to stop myself from laddering. It's like, dude, my blood pressure just fucking through the roof. Anything happen, and that game is full of bullshit, like absolutely chock full of bullshit that's annoying to play around. I was losing I'm like dancing around the room like, like just literally like crusty clowning my ass around the room for like 5 hours, 6 hours at a time. But I've been still like enjoying the process of building a deck and stuff, which is really fun. I've never quite understood why you would play a trading card game and then just go and look at somebody else's deck and be like, yeah, I'll just use that shit. That seemed kind of boring to me, so I've been building lots of decks and having fun. Other than that, that's it. Em went back to work for the first time since she got, attacked at work a couple weeks back. She's went back to work last night, and she's back again tonight. So life is kind of like returning to some semi-normal routine now. And that's it. Kind of enjoyed the weather. We've had incredible weather this week. Holy shit. Just like perfect. If we could just keep this for another month, I'd be so happy. Like 20, 21 degrees, except for yesterday, not a huge amount of humidity. Beautiful, sunny, barely, any clouds in the sky. It was gorgeous going for walks and getting some fresh air whenever we had the opportunity. And so, yeah, that was the week. That's it. And now it's time. Now that we got all that boring shit out of the way, it's time to talk about the real fun stuff, like Twitch's contract law with music businesses. Have you seen this pop up in your timeline?
I did.
So there's apparently, we don't know the full details of this yet, but apparently there has been a deal finally struck between Twitch and the NMPA that's apparently been long in the works, and we're talking years apparently, if these articles are to be believed or what they're saying is to be believed. And it could finally drop at the end of this month, meaning, I guess, within the next 7 calendar days. Little is known, but it appears that it centers around Twitch providing what they call new opportunities to music publishers through opt-in deals, as well as Twitch creating a new process by which music rights holders can opt into to report certain uses of their music that they don't like. So what that sounds like to me is, I don't think this is going to suddenly be the onset of music being kosher on Twitch, so much as it's going to be Twitch working or giving labels the opportunity to come in and say, we will work or allow these people to play these songs for this purpose, and that's the show. And then the second half of this is Twitch making good with the NMPA to provide a service in which they can more efficiently report violations that they feel are occurring with their property. And so, I don't know, like on one hand, I like that this is happening. On the other hand, it just sounds like it's going to be just easier for music producers to, or not producers, but license holders to come in and levy strikes. Not that it would affect me, because I haven't listened to fucking any licensed music on stream in a hot minute now, but some people were reading into this as it's going to be the start of Twitch, Twitch users being able to go back to the old days, where they're just listening to whatever they want and shit. I do not think that this is what that is whatsoever. What was your takeaway from what scant news we have on this?
Well, from what I was reading in the email, it seems like it's going to allow Twitch to give people warnings instead of just straight up bans or strikes. So it gives them, I guess, a little bit more leeway. Maybe before they kind of had a gun to their head, like, hey, we reported this, you're going to strike this. And I think now this more might be situational. I think this could be like a backdoor for that, so that Twitch doesn't have to ban people. Because there's tons. I still listen to music. I just don't give a fuck. Like, I just like everybody listens to me. Like, I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people still listen.
Yeah, a lot
to
of people are still doing it.
A lot, and I mean big time streamers. Now you can just route it through so that it doesn't show up on your VOD or clips, and you can listen to the music live. And I just have to make sure I put in my closed back headphones, why I have them here, so that it doesn't bleed off into the microphone. And you don't hear anything. Like, you go to somebody can clip it, ship it, nothing's there. So that's what like 85% of streamers are doing when they listen to music now. There hasn't been any cases or issues with it. And I think the majority of the music strikes are because people have music VODed. And I don't know why music companies think that people are going to VODs to listen to music. Every song is pretty much available on Spotify in the world. You could just go over there and listen to the song.
Nobody's going to VODs for any purpose.
Really? Yeah.
like Twitch VODs are like dead.
Well, I mean, they do in role play, but outside of that, I don't think there's a whole lot. There's not. It's very niche.
Yeah.
To go back and watch VODs. So, what I see from this is I see a step in the right direction, but I also don't see. It almost seems like a lateral step. That I think will benefit streamers for not getting banned for this. I don't think there's been any bans at all for music-related stuff. I know that there's been some copyright stuff on like some of the big streamers. Like X was watching the Olympics for like hours, and they told him like you can't watch the Olympics, and he got banned for like 24 hours, if that. But outside of that, I haven't heard of any streamers.
I know there's been strikes, but not bans.
And apparently, when you get a strike over time, those strikes can go away. So I don't know. I just
it's still a bit of an elusive system currently, and so hopefully we learn more about.
It's gonna be like what everything else is with Twitch and rules. It's whatever they're feeling like doing. Everything is a gray area all the time. There's no cut and dry for the vast majority of stuff. And I think that's what this is going to be. I think people are going to in fact, I think this might even create more confusion. I think there'll be even more streamers that are just going to start listening to music because they think they can. Because, when they're saying, oh, we're signing a deal with NMPA, everyone's like, oh, thank God Twitch is back to its glory days and we could just listen to Backstreet Boys or Christmas music and not give a fuck. But that's not it. That's literally not it. They say like in fine print in there that music should still not be used outside of very specific things. So I don't know. Maybe this is an opt-in thing for when they're doing big events and they have like Metallica come in and do music. And they can't strike everybody for like listening to their own stream.
So when it's E3 and they do a game show event and it's not them on stage with like some fucking elevator music.
Yeah, and like that now they're promoting some sort of like music thing that I've seen some streamers are opting in for like writing music and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. Twitch when it comes to music is a fucking dumpster fire. It's confusing at the very least. And I don't know. I don't know why you can listen to music on YouTube or Facebook, and people aren't getting banned. Like at most, your video is getting demonetized.
Well, I think the difference is that YouTube has a system in which they can forward monetization to rights holders, whereas Twitch just doesn't have that. And I think it's probably for similar reasons that we don't have things like, even though some hack version of Rewind is apparently coming to Twitch as well, they announced that, like, but it's like a Band-Aid version. It's like where they're like kind of low-key roping in the VOD past a 5-minute mark, and there's like they're trying to do it, but I think ultimately they'd have to rewrite the entire player in order to properly implement it, and I think it's probably a similar situation whereby they just don't have the back-end infrastructure in place right now to forward advertising revenue to rights holders. And then the other more complicated thing, I suppose, is that, in a YouTube video, most of these videos are like,
10 minutes.
10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, right? And you get like one or two things that are claimable, and maybe one or two of those things are there, and then for the chunk of time, if any ads are played before or after the delivery of said song or whatever, it's being sent and split between the rights holders. Whereas, like, on Twitch, if you're streaming for fucking 9-10 hours, like the absolute litany of shit that could be claimed at any given time and then have to be split up and all the bullshit that comes with that, I think also makes it complicated.
It's a fucking shit show. All right. Yeah. It's just a shit show. I guess, like, it's good news. I just don't know how good of a news it really is. We'll know more soon.
I think I'll be really happy if at the very least it solves the problem of the music in games that are being streamed being flagged. Yeah. That is beyond the most important thing. Recreationally listening to music on Twitch is always going to be a literally a legal gray area, but like when it comes to streaming, and I mean streaming games in general are still in a gray area.
It's still a gray area.
It's still a gray area.
Playing the games is a gray area.
But it's like but the difference is that like the developers themselves, we know they don't care. That's why nobody ever brings down a channel for it. At best it'll be like Atlas.
So
from
does the
Japan.
Vast majority of artists. They don't give a fuck.
Well, the artists don't.
It's
the artists don't, but it's the license holders. So for the music in the games from the developers and publishers that don't care, that becomes a problem. It's like streaming Tony Hawk, the redo for 1 and 2. It's all licensed music. It's all shit that they like. And there's no way in fuck you're gonna want to play that shit with that those music tracks going. You're just asking for trouble. So I think that's like, if they could get that much done, I think that's
good.
A big W. That's a fat dub. Yeah. And then anything above and beyond that's just cream. But that would be like the core thing.
I think we're at the stage now, though. If you're listening to if you're playing a video game and a song shows up and you get flagged, Twitch is not banning anybody for that. You know what I mean? They're just not. They're just not going to do it. It might be a pain in the ass, and you might see a tweet like, "Oh, I got fucking flagged for playing Last of Us 2, and there was some sort of song in there that." Twitch is not banning somebody removing their Twitch account over that shit, right?
Highly unlikely it would just be
to put it out there, but they're not gonna just wipe out your account for that stuff. So,
well, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think it would just be nice for people to know that it won't happen instead of just we suppose that it's never gonna fucking come down on somebody. Rumors are floating around that Quantic Dream, who did Heavy Rain, I think you played Heavy Rain way back in the day. They also did Detroit Become Human more recently, is working on a traditional action game set in the Star Wars universe with a possible open world and multiplayer elements, which I guess Detroit Become Human is the closest thing to what could possibly be like related to that style of game for them to tackle. But it's just a rumor, but that seems there's more and more Star Wars content being cranked out, so that seems not completely unlikely. Would they be the first person on my list to do a Star Wars game? Probably not. But then again, would Playground Games be the first on my list to do Fable if you originally told me that? And I'd probably say no. So at this point, fuck it. Show me your Star Wars. What do you got, Quantic Dreams? Just, Heavy Rain was nice, but Detroit Become Human was a little bit, it was a little bit better, but just don't make Star Wars with QuickTime events, please, God. Heavy Rain just was one giant quick time event. Wasn't there like a part of that game where you're just walking around pressing X and calling like your child's name or your wife's name or some shit? You're just like walking around constantly fucking like mashing one button, like calling their name.
I think so. I think that was in the beginning of the game. I'm not sure. It's been so long since I played that shit. That whole game's a meme.
I do remember though how everyone was like mind fucked by that game when it was being shown off, because it it was the sit down scene where the wife is there just talking to you like in a a little dialogue thing. And it was like showing the just how powerful the PlayStation 3's graphical capabilities were, because this was like pre-launch kind of shit. And it was like mind-blowing, because it really was at the time in a huge leap. But then the game got delayed a bunch, it came out, and it was just like it was just kind of like a whatever experience. But yeah, all the best. If you're doing Star Wars, just do it well. I could use more Star Wars if it's done well. Blizzard, it's time for that news. Activision Blizzard news, Mr. Black. But Blizzard specifically, apparently. Bad news keeps rolling through as Blizzard's chief legal officer has quit amidst the lawsuit gong show. They just keep getting more and more slammed on him over there, and so the chief legal officer said, "I'm out! Before I become part of this fucking slaughter, I am out of this mess." So that's another top member of Blizzard being gone. They were there, I think, for, I think it was a few years anyway in that position. I think it was like 3 years, I want to say. Also, Overwatch 2, which I'm not convinced is even a video game. But Overwatch 2's boss, Chaco, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, and I apologize. Chaco or Chaco, depending on how that A is pronounced, Sonny, is also quitting Blizzard for, quote, some time off. However, in the announcement of him leaving, the company said that Overwatch 2 is closing in on completion, with more being set to be shown off at the Overwatch League Grand Finals, which I think is this weekend. And well, if it wasn't this weekend, it's next. So, we will discover soon, apparently, if Overwatch 2 is a real video game, and if it is indeed a real video game, what it's shaping up to be.
Did you hear about the name change for McCree or whatever his name is?
McCree, because it was named after one of the staff members that were part of the allegations or whatnot. So now
I think they might have been part of the Bill Cosby suite.
Probably. There's a lot of people in that picture.
Yeah,
could have been.
Might have been some sort of thing. They changed his name. I forget what the name is. It's they changed his name to something. I
didn't see if they chose a name. I hadn't seen it yet.
They did, and it was like a name.
I knew they were going to change it, but I didn't see like if they actually announced a replacement name for it yet.
Yeah, it was like Cree. Somebody in chat knows. Somebody in chat's got to know, right? As soon as somebody says it, I'll know. I'm pretty sure it was like named after, or I guess not named after something, but also the name is kind of associated with madness.
McLeod?
No, I don't think it was McLeod.
That would be.
I thought it was something else. Anyway, I'll have to find it.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, I think it was.
Is it McLeod?
Really?
Oh, that is not concrete. Okay.
Oh, it's not okay. I was gonna say because all I'm gonna think of is Fox McCloud. Star Fox. Fox McCloud.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I heard a completely different name. Maybe they had some that they were fielding out or something. I don't know.
It was Cowboy Hero temporarily. Oh God. Oh, that's rough. Honestly, I feel bad for like the devs that are just in there doing their fucking job, and all of this firestorm is happening around them. Their company is on fire. Their parent company is on fire. All of their lead developers are just fucking like leaving the building every single day. That's gotta be can you imagine the morale in that building right now? It's gotta be zero, right? Where does it get worse? I also feel for Matt Mercer since he's associated directly with McCree at voicing him. It's kind of an unfortunate situation for him as well, no doubt. Related to all of that firestorm, though, there's more shit landing on the desk of Bobby Kotick. Securities and Exchange Commission, in fact, the SEC, has launched an investigation into Activision Blizzard now after a series of harassment and abuse allegations came in, and will be looking into possibly suppressed information to keep the stock prices up. So the shareholders and stockholders have been concerned that Activision Blizzard has not been informing them of the myriad accusations within the company to give them a false sense of security, and for the obviously so that nobody is dumping their shares back on the market in preparation for, I don't know, like 5 lawsuits appearing out of nowhere, 2 of which coming from an entire fucking state and 1 from the SEC. But here we are now, and the SEC is investigating, and so I'm wondering, I have this in the notes, I'm wondering if some of that information that they're looking for, despite the fact that so far the SEC says that they've mostly cooperated, that the stuff that Bobby and friends had been allegedly ordering people to shred all these documents might be related to the shit that the SEC is now appearing on their doorstep looking for. Welcome to Activision Blizzard. This is probably the most work Bobby Kotick's had to do in years, though. So, Bobby Kotick is actually earning his...
He's earning his bonuses right now.
Bajillion-dollar bonuses now. Yes, this is where he's earning his money. Also, with more with more lawsuit-related stuff, updates on the Apple versus Epic case already. We talked a little bit about it last week as well. Apple has informed Epic officially that Fortnite will be blacklisted until the exhaustion of all court appeals, which could be a 5-year process.
Oof, that's an expensive
blacklist. That's a yikes.
They said, "Hey, you wanna fuck with us? All right, fuck your revenue."
Holy shit!
You're blacklisted.
That is wow.
Yeah, that'll put on the pressure to end this.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Like the amount of money just being burned right now, not only in legal fees, but now you can't even recoup that shit.
Yeah, that's bad.
On the mobile market for Apple. That's rough.
They're like, "Hey, you doing so good, huh? Okay.
Yikes.
Go ahead.
Blacklisted. Get fucked." Nintendo Direct. Oh, yes, right. They announced this like yesterday. Nintendo has this thing where they just like do absolutely nothing, and then 24 hours before an event, they're like, "Hey, by the way, tomorrow." And so we're getting one. We're getting one today. It's gonna be after the podcast. I think it's 7 o'clock our time. It's really late. Normally they do them way earlier in the day, but this one is later today, so in the evening. And so we'll talk about whatever might come out of that next week. Days after YouTube came after the YouTube music bots on Discord, 2 of the most prominent music bots on Discord, it has been announced that YouTube and Discord will be partnering, surprise, surprise, to bring YouTube videos to the platform so that people can watch YouTube videos together. So similar, the layout kind of looks similar to when you're screen sharing and you can have multiple people watching a screen share.
Parties.
It's basically a watch party with YouTube videos. Obviously, this is another avenue for YouTube to come in and say, all right, you can't just willy-nilly have that shit in there, but if we partner and put this in, we can ensure that ads get played in front of all this shit and still recoup all of our advertising revenue, etc., etc. And so that's obviously what this is about, and so they did. But that's not surprising, I guess, because people were like wondering, it's an odd time to just come out of nowhere and axe 2 music bots on Discord. Well, now you know why. They've partnered up to bring this functionality to Discord, which at the end of the day, ads or no ads, it's a lovely added feature for Discord, I suppose. Nothing bad to say about that. In a bid to reduce e-waste, the EU may be forcing all cell phones to use the USB-C standard for charging and connections. And this is, I guess, like I said, that's to fight. The EU has been pretty aggressive in terms of trying to fight e-waste in general. Everyone upgrading their cell phone every 1 to 2 years, and pretty much until more recently, where Apple and then others started to follow, not putting new chargers in every single cell phone box, not putting cables, or maybe putting a cable, but the cable's getting like fucking shorter and shorter. There's just a lot of wasted shit because of how much everyone's upgrading constantly. And that gets exacerbated by the fact that there are so many different standards for charging. So you're still getting some things are still running on, at least not within the phone market. There's not very many left at this point, but some are still running on like micro USB. Whereas then you get USB-C is in the vast majority of newer phones now. But then on Apple's side, they've got lightning bolt connectors, which is quite literally USB-C with a different name and, a different recognizing, the cable it doesn't get recognized the same way. The form factor is fucking identical. It's just basically an excuse for them to be able to sell their own cables is more or less what it is. So, but the problem with that is that it just, without unification of that shit, and with cell phones now being so ubiquitous and everyone rebuying shit so frequently, the amount of materials and wastage is getting crazy. And so, yeah, they're aiming to unify charging to USB-C, which is awesome. I mean, USB-C can carry 4K fucking video signal and anything else at this point. And so all the power to them. It would be nice to just reduce. I mean, I've got even here, I've got a myriad of different chargers and cables for all the different shit in this room that carries like different charging capabilities. So just having that reduced to one, I'd be for it. And especially since, the other added benefit is that, it reduces how much fucking waste is being tossed around just for the sake of having a new cell phone box that you never use the charger in anyway. How that's going to work out, I have no idea, because it means that Apple is going to have to, I guess, ultimately flip a very minor switch internally for cell phones they sell within the EU, because again, Lightning Bolt is basically USB-C, but I suspect Apple will fight that, if I had to guess.
It ain't going to happen. Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah. Wishful thinking, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, if they try, Apple will almost guaranteed fight it. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah,
how that pans out.
They'll say, "Hey, I'll just not give you my phones. Have fun with that."
The EU is a pretty big fucking place. I mean, ultimately, it would be a very interesting battle. A lot of
people would go, "That ain't happening. I want my Apple."
Nintendo. Oh no, sorry, not the Nintendo Direct. Halo Infinite is getting 2 more beta runs. That was one more, I guess, than originally planned. Back-to-back weekends. I believe this weekend, starting today, and then I think next week as well. On some sort of, I tried to find it again, but I couldn't find it. I saw it pop up on my timeline last night, I think, or earlier this morning. I don't remember, because it might have been when I was just waking up to pick up him from work, but there was some sort of server issues or something along those lines ahead of the first. And so this first one might get delayed a little bit before they kicked it back up. But yeah, they're getting 2 more beta tests for Infinite coming. And some more details about different modes and stuff have started to come out. I think one of these flight tests, I don't think both, but I think one of them will include big team battles. And so that's like a new mode they'll be testing out, or not new to the series, but new for the flight tests. And so we're going to get more info, I guess, from people playing that here in the next couple weeks, to see how those new modes work out, because I think at this point they're probably not going to be running as many bots. It's probably going to be more PvP stuff to really start to work stuff out. Excuse me, Diablo II Remaster dropped today. Did it really?
Yep.
I didn't see that on any of my news channels. Anywhere. That dropped today?
Yep. Pretty sure. Yep.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know about the Diablo II Remaster. Zero fanfare, zero advertisement. Didn't see a single anything anywhere. Holy shit. That's crazy. How in the shit did that not, like, what? Wow. They've been talking about it all over the internet. How is that possible that I didn't see anyone on my Twitter account, anywhere on N4G, anywhere, like nobody posted on Discord? That's crazy. Well, there you go. Well, congratulations. Diablo II Remaster arrived. There you go. There you go. I don't know what it's like. I haven't seen anyone talk about whether or not it works. Some people are saying the servers are not doing so hot. There you go. Amazing.
Blizzard ain't getting my money, so
I'm not
I
playing
like
it.
Diablo 2, they ain't getting my money. I'm done with Blizzard.
No.
If it's free to play, I'd fucking try it out, but I ain't paying for it.
Oh, we got some sales numbers for the consoles for the last month. They rolled through from VG charts. Nintendo Switch has sold 301,405 for the last month to top the charts quite handily. They've now hit a total of 90.55 million Nintendo Switch consoles sold. That's a shitload of fucking consoles. PS5 moved 203,645 in the same period to bring it to 11.45 million, and the Xbox Series S and S moved 130,365 to bring their sales to just over 7 million units, which is, despite obviously being behind the PS5, at the very least, they'll consider it a success insofar as that it is currently outpacing the Xbox One sales quite handily, where it took Xbox One 9 more weeks of sales to hit the same 7 million unit threshold. So, obviously still climbing back from PlayStation 4's dominant last generation. Lots of people clamoring for PS5 still. But at the very least, they're selling more than they did last gen. Whether that's a high watermark or not can be debated. Death Stranding Director's Cut that Hideo Kojima has been doing nothing but tweeting random bullshit for the last few weeks about, is apparently converting some of the previous skeptics. Lots of people that weren't all that interested in it the first time around have hopped in and they're like, now I get it, the Director's Cut has, has won me over. But I know I'm personally still not particularly interested in Death Stranding. Strand games, as he calls them, I don't think they're a thing, first of all. But the game, if you like it, awesome. It's a pretty looking game. You can see Norman Reedus in all of his glory. You can check that out. And finally, Call of Duty Vanguard's beta is going over what I would call lukewarm. Where it's mostly, where it's mostly going over well, but at the same time, not that well. A lot of people complaining about the time to kill way too fast. There's no way that you can react to somebody shooting you. You're dead in like 2 frames of animation. The servers have been sketchy, and people just not all that impressed in general with it thus far. I doubt that's going to stop it from selling less than 15 million copies. So, everyone's going to complain and then they're going to buy it anyway. Because it's Call of Duty Vanguard. And the final, I forgot about that too. There was already hackers. Shit's not even at a beta. There's already video evidence of hackers. So there you go. The last thing I can mention, I suppose, is that Respawn Entertainment announced or did a little announcement after there was some speculation that they were never going to return to Titanfall as a series, and they said that that was nonsense and don't listen to people telling you that's the case. It's just that they have other projects currently going on, and you never know what the future might bring. And famously, Titanfall 2 is considered one of the greatest first-person shooter packages of all time, single-player and multiplayer, but also the most tragic release time ever in that EA moved it directly a week after or whatever Battlefield 1 released. They basically sent it to the slaughter, had no chance, and then proceeded to get rave reviews, and everyone loved it, but it was just slammed in between the releases of 2 things, Battlefield 1 and something else. It might have been a Call of Duty release or something similar. But yeah, it got fucking destroyed, unfortunately, in that release window. And the original release window it was going to be on its own. But hopefully, we do get more Titanfall in the future. Because coincidentally, this was the discussion in places. It was like lots of people complained about how including Call of Duty fans, complain about how Call of Duty is like just the same game over and over and over again, right? Ironically, Titanfall 2 and Titanfall 2 are made by the original Call of Duty developers, was something pretty much completely fresh, got critically acclaimed, did relatively well, but then nobody went and played it anyway and just went back to Call of Duty and complained about Call of Duty not being anything different when Titanfall was like almost inarguably a better overall game. So we'll see if it happens in the future, but for now, not so much. And now, Mr. Black, if I have my crystal ball in the future, I do believe I see you selling out.
All right. Patreon.com/LagTV. Head on over there. Throw some money at the screen. We still doing it live. We still going. I think we're going on 4 years or so.
Something like that.
Yeah, so keep the train going. It's appreciated. We also got NordVPN. You can still get 73% off plus 4 bonus months when you use the promo code OTT. Go to nordvpn.com/OTT. Use that promo code. And get yourself a 2-year subscription for less than the price of a Grande Cinnamon Dolce Latte a month at Starbucks. Use up to 6 simultaneous devices, so you only need 1 account per household. Unless you've got a household that is massive. And even if you had 30 people that lived in the household, you could just hook your NordVPN right up to your router so that, that's just one of your connections. So, you can game the system. Speaking of gaming the system, you got you got Netflix, right? And you live in Hungary, right? And their Netflix over there, I hate to use the pun, but it's keeping you hungry for more. So what are you going to do? You're going to use NordVPN. You're going to mask your IP to a US IP, and then all of a sudden,
what if they masked it to Turkey so that they were no longer hungry?
You could do that. You can mask it to whatever you want so that you have a new wide range of content available in different regions. And that all comes with that low price of just pretty much free $99 at NordVPN. So head on over there, use the promo code, stay safe, stay anonymous. I didn't even mention that. You could stay safe. Yo, that public Wi-Fi, mask your IP. Ain't nobody need to know what's going on. Head on over there and get a subscription. Plus, we've got Elgato. Go. I got one product that y'all need to run out there and buy right now. Face cam. All right. You guys saw me using my old Logitech C920 and my C928, and you've seen the difference from just last week or was it a week before last or whatever it was.
It was last week.
Last week. Look at the camera difference. Look how much wider this is. And what's nice is, just like with all of Elgato's products, they've got great software that you can do on the fly. So I can zoom in.
If Jeff only wants to have the top of his forehead seen,
I can. I can do whatever I want to do. I could just go gangbusters right now. All right.
Change the hue of that right now. Let's see. Show me Purple Jeff.
Purple Jeff. Let me go down here. Purple Jeff. That's like bluish.
It's yellow. Okay. All right. You're close enough. I'll allow it.
Close.
I'll allow it.
Right about here is more so the real color.
Okay. Now show me standing outside of the Pacifico in 2005. Yes. 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 Thank you. That is exactly what I was going for. Thank you.
So yeah, go and pick up your face cam from Elgato. Price point is where it needs to be. Quality is right there. We've been waiting like a decade, literally, for the next webcam to hit the market, and it finally happened. And we're not talking a DSLR camera. This is a plug and play. Put it in USB, sits there. If I could show you, but it's bulky. It's got heft to it.
It's got a Sony internal processor, and Sony's got some of the best camera processing in the game.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Ever since I started using this, every day when somebody comes to my stream, they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck? There's something going on here. I don't know what it is. There's something going on." I'm like, "New webcam." They're like, "Oh, that's it." So go check them out. All right, link is in the description below. I ain't got a promo code. When you know your products are hot fire, just you listen. They're sold out all the time. You don't need to give away any discounts. All right, no discounts. You know what the discount is? You get an amazing product at an amazing price that beats the competitors. There's your discount. Now go out there and get one. They're on Amazon. You can go walk into Best Buy. You can go, they're all over the place. Like Elgato's in like every big box store there is now. So
listen, dry humping inflatable animals has never looked so crisp.
There you go. That's your thing. You can make it happen. And that's it.
Now it's time for
movies and TV.
LeVar Burton officially bows out of trying to become the next Jeopardy host and says he decided that he just doesn't really feel like doing it after all, and he just was in it kind of for the competition. And then I guess after the competition ended, he found out that he didn't really care all that much after they told him to take a walk.
Yeah. It seems like a massive headache, and if they really wanted him, they would have just signed him already. So why
bother?
Why bother? It's like, hey, you're a loss.
Literally.
I actually think this is the beginning of the end for Jeopardy. I think this is going to be, I think they'll have a show, but it's never going to
It's not going to reach the heights.
Never.
I can see that happening.
Yep.
Scott Bakula says that there might be, I want to pronounce his last name Bakula, like it's Count Chocula. Scott Bakula says that there are significant conversations happening about a possible Quantum Leap reboot, which is that older sci-fi television show that was very popular. And yeah, I just apparently that I'm thinking that would please a lot of fans. Obviously, yet another reboot. Apparently, one of the reasons more hasn't happened with this franchise for so long is because, and I didn't look into who has them or what it's been happening, but Scott said that the rights for the show and the property have been a tangled mess for years, and that's the majority of the reason why nothing else has happened, even though that show was quite successful. Just the rights has been a complete gong show, and so, but apparently he says while they might still be that way, there's been a lot of chatter around bringing back that show in some capacity. And so you might be able to catch that at some point if you are, a Quantum Leap fan. Maybe that's fun news for you. Speak of the devil, when we did last week, Fantastic Beasts 3 finally has a title. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, and it will now land April 15th of 2022 is its new release date. Which is that earlier than it was originally going to launch?
I don't know. That shit's gonna get delayed again, so
more than likely,
it's guaranteed.
What I hope doesn't get delayed. And
they put in Dumbledore in the name just because like nobody's gonna see the movie anyway. Like this franchise is dead. This is a fail. This is an epic fail.
Which is a shame because I actually really did like I can't remember his name, but the lead actor for that series. I can't think of his name, but I actually thought he did a fantastic job, no pun intended, of that character. I thought he did a really good job. Just an unfortunate fuck show that would be the series he gets predominantly tied to for film. Hopefully he can spin his way out of that. Eddie Redmayne into other stuff once this whole dumpster fire has sorted itself out. Red alert, Mr. Black. All hands on deck. Tiger King 2, officially coming to Netflix this year.
How?
I don't care how. All I need to know is that it's coming to Netflix this year.
Oh my God.
I don't know what that entails. I don't know. But if it's even remotely close to the absolute roller coaster of the original, I'm in. And if they manage to actually have have, have that guy in a jail cell on this fucking show.
Well, they
And
probably
he's gonna
filmed,
talk about
well,
Donald
I heard,
Trump.
Yeah, they filmed that thing where when Donald Trump got into office, he was hoping that he was going to get pardoned. And
Oh, he had
like
the fucking
a
limo and
limousine
shit.
everything out front. He was ready to go, and Trump was like, "Nah, that ain't it." Donald Trump was like signing pardons for like Lil Wayne and a bunch of other
like
anybody that was like, "Go Donald Trump," But Tiger King didn't happen.
Unfortunately, I don't think Donald Trump is a huge fan of gay men. If I had to take a wild guess.
I don't think Donald Trump's a fan of a lot of things.
If you can't get a pardon from Donald Trump when he's handing shit out to like Wheezy, you know you're down on a list like super far. If you can't even break in on that shit, that's rough. But yeah, so that's a thing. I forgot to mention last week, and Em and I watched it a few days before last week's podcast, and it left such a mediocre mark that I can't even remember what movie or what thing it was that we watched. It's on Netflix. It was relatively new. What in the shit was that? Oh, it's another girl kicking ass movie. Kate? No.
I don't know.
Why Kate, Adam? What was the name? It's a single, it's like her name. It's just that, like, the title of the movie, I believe, is literally her name.
Maybe it is Kate or Katie or something.
Shit. It's basically, like Panic said, it's like John Wick Netflix knockoff. Okay. Was it Lucy? No, not Lucy. Wasn't, no. Shit.
I don't know.
Fuck. Oh my god. Well, here's the problem. There's been so many, like, female assassin movies that, like, nothing stands out. Whatever it is, and I can't think of the name of it right now, it's the most recent one. It's not all the other bullshit. It's just... It is Kate! Shit, yeah!
There you go.
So, yeah, anyway. Obviously not a super memorable movie. However, fun. Definitely could recommend if you're looking for, like, an action flick to watch. She does a really good job of all of the... By far the most convincing of, like, after all of these, like we were just talking about, all these female assassin films that had cropped up after John Wick, and it was like they were all looking for a woman to do what Keanu Reeves has done, kind of deal. This is absolutely the closest to a female that choreographed almost as well as a John Wick film yet. And the premise of the film is fun. It generally just a good, definitely a popcorn movie. Pop some popcorn, and you'll have a pretty good good time.
Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I've been watching. We've been watching the latest season of Sex Education.
Oh, how's that? You know what? I really like the first season, and I've just never hopped back on after the second.
It's on season 3 now. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's getting better. The show's getting better.
It was a really good show, so hopefully, I suspect they did continue.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I had for movies and TV, unless you had something pop up.
I mean, there's been a few things. The Scarlett Johansson thing with Disney.
How did that is that like new info?
Yeah, it's still going. They basically the CEO admitted that, like, things need to change from here moving forward. I think they're going to end up settling, like, outside of the courts before things go public, with all of the details. They've had a completely different turn. I mean, when it first came out, they're like, "Oh, we paid her $20 million." Like, it's a pandemic. Does she not understand we're in a pandemic and we had to pivot? But it's not the contract she signed. And then,
which is really rich coming from Disney, because Disney fired 40,000 employees to restore their C-level salaries during the pandemic, like the heat of the pandemic. So that's kind of rich coming from fucking Disney.
So the CEO came out and said, things changed. We're gonna have to, rewrite new contracts and stuff from here moving forward because he basically admitted that like we changed things we shouldn't have changed, but we had to change it. So yeah, and now it's a completely different tone. So I'm assuming that she's gonna get a massive check, and then that'll be that. I think Avatar 2 is finally gonna be happening at the end of 2022. Pretty sure. Avatar 2. Yeah, December 2022. So that's officially locked in. So that's happening next year.
All right.
And there's still Avatar 3, 4, and a 5. So and apparently 2 and 3 are pretty much done. So
that's so much Avatar, bro.
So much.
Holy shit.
And apparently, if they blew your mind like 11 years ago or whatever, now it's supposed to be like.
Well, I mean, it's been 11.
It's going.
Been 11 years.
Some next level shit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm starting to see the more of the actors coming and doing interviews and small little things. So there's been some more promotional stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Avatar is still my top 3 movie experience of all time. I know the story is a bit of a rip off.
From an experience perspective, it was obviously
it might
game changer.
It might be number 1. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
What's the other 2?
What?
For me, my top 3 probably Avatar, Interstellar, and it might have been The Matrix in IMAX. Honestly, that might have been.
It's up there. That's up there. I would say Interstellar, 100%. Avatar's number 1. Interstellar's number 2. And then number 3, it's a toss-up between The Matrix Reloaded, so the second Matrix, not the first one. I did see the first one in theaters, and it was a good time, but I was jazzed for the second. And then when the second ended, it was like, to be continued, and then they were releasing it like 6 months later or some shit.
Yeah.
It was quick, so it kept the hype going. And if not, I have to move it out of, and I have to go with Endgame. Endgame is up there. Endgame might actually be my 3rd. That shit was.
That's true.
That was crazy. And
as
it
an
wasn't
experience.
It wasn't as, the experience like cinematically wasn't as impressive as Avatar or Interstellar.
It's just the culmination of all of that shit.
All of it, and the audience you watched it with. It was like the
payoff was fucking enormous.
It was like I was watching, it was sold out. I've seen it twice. Yeah. And it was like everybody there was almost like you were friends with everybody, and you were all there watching this event together. And you weren't afraid to cheer, you weren't afraid to gasp, you were in it. And the stakes were so high. So from just like a movie standpoint, that it's up there. I really did enjoy The Hobbit as well. But I saw The Hobbit in 60 frames, and
was it 60 or 48?
40. No, it was
it's 48, wasn't
48. Was it 48?
Double cinema, yeah. 48.
I think it was 48. Yeah. Hobbit, yeah. Hobbit, 48 frames. Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that a lot. I know that it wasn't for everybody, and I saw that in IMAX 3D, and it was a clusterfuck. It took me about 20 minutes to get used to it because I was like, whoa, what the fuck? It felt like I was watching a movie set. It kind of takes you out of the movie, but once you get into the out of the movie experience, you almost forget and you're kind of still in the movie. And since it was 3D and it was just like, there was a few scenes that just like stuck with me. That I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. It feels like I'm here. It was like that movie magic was gone, and it was like almost like you were at a 4D theme park experience, but in a full blown movie. Hard to explain, but it was different. I'd put that in my top 5.
Benedict Cumberbatch out there being Smaug or whatever was pretty fucking 10 out of 10 as well. He did a phenomenal job at bringing that dragon to life as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
those are my favorites.
I have a random question for Mark since he's in chat and he would know. Like, I think most cinema isn't actually like solid 24. It's like 23.97. So was the 48? Was it really 47.99 or 47.98 or like some weird fucking? I wonder what the actual NTSC for 48 FPS is because I don't think anyone else has done 48 since then. So I'm wondering, what does that end up being at 48? If they double that, I guess it's like fucking 47.98 or 99 or some weird number. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Either way, it does look like at 48 when you're so used to 24, it does.
Oh, it was crazy.
It does look like 60 at that point.
It was
like because so you're so used to 24 that 60 looks.
It just looked
or 48
off.
looks crazy.
As soon as it started, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like it was and it was in 3D too, right? I'm in IMAX, and it's just
that's even crazier.
Like what the fuck am I watching? Like within 20 minutes, I'm like, I'm gripping my seat, like. They're doing these crazy scenes going through rivers and all this stuff, and it's just like water's coming in my face, and it's just like. It was really, really something.
It was like Kylo Ren talking to Rey, and the water just fucking splashed him in the face randomly.
Except a lot better. And what was nice is they didn't force you to watch it there. You could watch like your regular standard, 24 frames if you wanted to. I wanted the unique experience.
Did you see who was it? It was a lady. She was involved in the original writing for the I guess in some way for the original Star Wars, and she came out to say that the sequels suck balls. Did you see that this week?
No, I didn't see it, but it did suck balls.
I can't remember who, but I can't remember who it was, but she was talking about how like it was weird though because on one hand it was like yes I agree because she was mentioning like some of the points that she was mentioning like the death of Han and Luke just disappearing in a cloud of smoke and all this other shit, and but like the points that they picked to explain why they were bad, I was like of all of the. Oh, George Lucas's ex-wife. Of all of the points that they could have Marcia Lucas. So of all the points that she could have chosen to like really show how bad the sequels were, she picked some of the weakest fucking arguments. But beside that, it was still funny to me to watch like after all of this shit that's happened, it's like out of nowhere, here comes George Lucas's ex-wife. The sequels suck balls.
I bet you George Lucas is salty, but also happy. So he's probably very salty that his baby was just shit all over. But he's also probably really happy because he's made the best Star Wars that there has ever been. And so it's probably a double-edged sword where he doesn't have that pressure. Yeah, it's just like, you know what? I did it better than everybody else. Outside of Rogue One, I think Rogue One is better than any of the
Rogue One was spectacular.
Any of the episodes 1, 2, and 3. I loved Rogue One. I thought that shit was amazing. Outside of that, everything else, hot garbage. It's hot garbage. So George Lucas is salty,
people look back on the prequels fondly.
Oh.
If you fucked up fierce when people look back and go, you know what? Maybe Jar Jar wasn't so bad.
Yeah. That's where we're at.
Why is Luke drinking green titty milk? Bring me Jar Jar.
Yep.
So anyway, that was just a random thing. Just made me remember because you brought up you brought that up. Just made me remember. But either way, that's all I've got. If that's all it is, that means it's time to move on to
tech support.
Patreon.com/LagTV. $10 or more a month helps keep this bad boy going. Also gets you a couple perks. Chiefly, well, it allows you to ask us questions each and every week on a post that we call Tech Support. Goes up on Patreon. You can ask your questions, and we give you answers as best we can. This week, what do we got? Dan Jim the Dragonfly. This has got 3 likes on this bad boy. Your top 3 SNES games, Mr. Black. You got a wall of them back there. We did NES games last week. Now we're getting asked about SNES.
All right. Zelda, Link to the Past.
That's in my list as well.
Super Mario World.
Also in my list.
And
third one's a bit of a toss-up.
I'm gonna go with Super Mario Kart.
Ooh.
It's just it's so classic. How can I not put it up there?
So it is good, obviously, very good.
It's more than very good. That shit is.
Damn.
That's my childhood.
Super Nintendo has a lot of fucking really good games, so that's like this is a really hard list, and you could slot like any three, but for sure it's got to be Link to the Past. Man, just to be different, I'll add a couple of different ones. But I'll Link to the Past stays because it's I can't not.
Go. Yeah.
So Link to the Past because in my opinion, it's the best.
It's the best
Super
Zelda
Nintendo game.
It's the best Zelda game ever made. Fight me.
I don't. I mean, I'm not. I mean, there's like for me, it's between that and Ocarina of Time. They're so different because one's 3D and one's 2D, and one is like the pinnacle of top-down 2D, and the other one literally paved the way for the entire genre of action adventure in 3D. So it's like they're both incredible. But regardless, for me, Link to the Past is the best Super Nintendo game. Full stop. Not just Zelda possibly, but best Super Nintendo game. So Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. Man. To get a different ones in here, Donkey Kong Country, either one or two.
Man, I like those games, but there's just better games than those.
And Super Metroid.
Okay. Wow, Super Metroid. Okay. That's good. I'm gonna throw
because
in
like otherwise I'd have almost identical game.
Yeah,
almost.
I'm gonna
identical.
throw in an honorable mention. It's one of my favorite games. It's and it is my favorite multiplayer game on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Ooh, yes, that's true. Yeah, we played that for Live TV Versus way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's a hot pickup. I mean, the Super Nintendo has one of the greatest catalogs of video games ever. There's so fucking many good games on that console. So yeah, hard to pick just three, but those are some hot picks for sure. And you know what though? Like random ones that not a lot, you obviously would never hit top three, but I mentioned before the Power Rangers side-scrolling beat 'em up game was fire. Yeah. Not Streets of Rage was Genesis, but I thought for some reason in my head that it was also on the Super Nintendo for some reason.
No,
but
Contra
yeah,
was like
Super Contra.
Contras, there's
man, I mean Street Fighter, shit,
Mortal Kombat. I mean,
Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of fighters on there.
Turtles in Time, but that was also an arcade game.
Turtles in Time was an arcade game, but that was fire on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Man, lots like Final Fantasy games. Is it Chrono
Super Nintendo
Chrono Trigger
might actually be the best console ever made.
I think for like I think like for quality of games on average, for the type of games that existed, because obviously with the power of the console, there's only like the breadth of games are limited. But like on average, it's definitely for consoles top 3 all time, and it's for a lot of people probably arguably a contender for number 1 versus a couple of like the other one that would be in the top slot possibly is PS2.
Yeah, PS2. You can't go wrong with PS2. So many games for PS2.
And it's backwards compatible fully with one. So it's like there's a reason why they sold that thing for like 15 fucking straight years.
Yeah.
And it's the top selling console.
It's a great console. It's a good. It's got a lot of great games, and a lot of groundbreaking stuff on the PS2. So
yeah, wild times.
Yep.
Wild times. Speaking of wild times, G-Bros asks, what is something from the 90s that you wish was still around? Sort of related. You know what I wish, Jeff?
What?
Here specifically? I want Dickie D to make a fucking comeback, bro.
Yeah.
I want it to be summertime. I want to hear that. I want to hear some minimum wage guy that hates his job or girl ring that fucking bell, pedaling that bike with an ice cream fucking fridge on the front of it so that, we can go out and get ourselves some overpriced ice cream. That's what I want. I want that. It was called, the company here was called Dickie D. It's a terrible name. but
you know what I'm gonna go with?
That was the shit.
I'm gonna go with Walkmans.
Sony Walkmans.
I'm gonna go with Walkmans.
Hideo Kojima still uses his Walkman, Jeff, because he's cool.
I think Walkmans are cool. I still think.
Are we talking tape deck or CD?
No, I'm
because
talking
there's
CD.
two.
Yeah, I'm talking CD. Not like not your
not the
cassette.
OG cassette tape
No,
Walkman,
I'm talking
but
like the Discman.
the Discman, yeah,
the Discman. Which I do believe was in the 90s, right? Like towards the end of the 90s.
It was. I have a question for you though, Jeff. Was anti-skip a lie?
Yes. Yes. I think what it was, I think anti-skip was more of like, I think it was like maybe a design thing so that like when you dropped it or shake, it didn't move the middle too much. I don't know.
Well, that's what it was supposed to like not skip if it got bumped, right? But like you could like almost
skipped.
and you could like you could fart and the thing would fucking skip.
It still skipped. I mean, how dope would it be if there was still the Discman but it was like a new Discman? So like if Apple came out with a Discman that didn't really have a disc, right? But it was shaped like one, but it was all digital. And, you got that old retro feel, but you could put a CD in there if you wanted to.
I suspect Sony has fielded the idea back when iPod was a thing to come out with one that was like in that lineage. In fact, they kind of did, but like it's hard to sell that on it when it was like such an analog thing, right? To go full digital.
It's a tough sell. And I mean, even if you made like a Spotify Discman, right? You could just listen to it on your phone, right? It's just like
here's the thing though. So Gen Z could be the one to bring that back.
It's true.
Because hear me out. Us millennials are buying what in bulk? Vinyl. I got fucking vinyl shit back there right now for analog sound, right? Yeah. The thing is that a lot of people right now, they've got these streaming platforms, and other than Tidal and like one other, but like I think it was which platform is it? Tidal or somebody else? Anyway, it's the one that uses like some form of M4A, like Apple possibly. Their lossless audio is garbage, like hot fucking garbage, and it makes it sound worse than it's supposed to, and not what it's supposed to, like not the artistic intent of the song. Whereas like FLAC, like fully lossless audio codec, that one that's like CD. It's what you would rip off of a CD. And so if you put a CD in, a lot of people might actually think that like Spotify or Tidal or some shit is actually superior audio quality to a CD because they look at a CD as an older format. Yeah. But here's the deal. CD is a shitload fucking better. And shit, you know what? A proper tape deck with a relatively untouched tape is also better than streamed audio. Yeah. So,
I'd be okay with vinyl. I mean, I just think there's something cool about the Discman, but I'm an 80s baby, so like
I like vinyl, but like I'm like, if I ever get like into when I get in my home theater setup, it's not going to be surround sound. It's going to be a really nice stereo so that I can listen to music, because surround sound systems make music sound like fucking smashed assholes, but I can listen to movies.
But you watch movies, not to listen to music, right?
No, I know, but like if you're just doing like one system for everything, so you're not having like two rooms with two different setups. Yeah. I'm perfectly happy with really good stereo audio with a center channel for movies, and then just use stereo for music, which sounds way better than surround sound. Yeah. And so that will be my setup for my living room, not dissimilar to what I've got now, except instead of the soundbar, it will be speakers. I will likely have a fucking CD player in the stack.
Yeah, why not?
And just like I own a bunch of lossless audio, which I'll put on like my home network, but I'll still likely have a CD player to just skip like I need lossless audio and the DAC needs to be able to decode this properly and all this other bull. Just give me a good CD player, plug it in, fucking done. And skip the line. And I think that vinyl for us will be like Gen Z's, CDs in the future.
All right.
This is a random question with 4 likes on it. Seth asks, ever been naked somewhere it is not typically appropriate to be naked? No, I make it a point to not be naked where you're not supposed to be naked. It's something I do my best to not be.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. Nothing's coming to mind.
I haven't I know people that have gone streaking as like a meme when we were kids, younger, not kids, you're like a fucking teenager and you're like, you bet somebody to go run down the street fucking butt ass naked or some shit. I wasn't that guy. I know people that did that shit. I was definitely not it.
Yeah, like I'd go skinny dipping and stuff like that or whatnot, but that's not really that inappropriate. I mean,
yeah, you're not running around downtown naked.
Yeah. I'm not like showing myself in public.
You're not an exhibitionist. We're walking around with a trench coat, like,
yeah.
You want to buy some CDs? Let me show you my wares. Okay. Jorbach asks, what's the craziest improvised weapon you've ever used to kill an annoying bug? I can tell you right now for both of us at the same time. It's a story we've told before. We were young. There was rice in a bag in Jeff's basement. It was an partially unfinished basement. The rice had broken at the bottom of this garbage bag and was rotting in the basement, and fruit flies. More than I promise you, if you ever think that you've seen a lot of fruit flies, I promise you, it was not even remotely close to the number of fruit flies that were in this basement on this bag of fucking rice. It was enough to change the color of the room on the walls because it was like a smoke screen of fruit flies. And so what we did was we only thought there was one way we could possibly kill that many fruit flies at any given time. And that was we found 2 bottles of spray Raid. And we didn't even open the door. We crawled in. There was a basement egress window that was like a slide window, barely big enough to crawl through. And we tied T-shirts.
I mean, why don't we just walk downstairs? Like, why are we?
That's not nearly as epic though. So we tied T-shirts around our face, and we each had a bottle of Raid, and we crawled through the window, and we fucking just like. And if you want a Matrix callback, we were also humming one of the Matrix songs like at the time of doing this because we were children and that was something that we did.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall, man. Wish I could be a fly on the wall.
Just watch that shit. Dual wielding fucking Raid cans. That's probably it. I don't think I ever did anything crazier to kill bugs in my life. Probably that.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
A lot of bugs died.
A lot of bugs. I mean, there was a carpet.
Survived, but a lot of bugs died. Yeah.
We might have given ourselves latent cancer from the amount of Raid that we inhaled that day, but
those black garbage bags were like white from the amount of Raid sprayed on them. It was crazy. You'd smack like the garbage bag, and you wouldn't even know that there were fruit flies until you touch something, and then they would all get scared and it'd be like, what the fuck? It was insane. It was actually insane.
Easily the most fruit flies I've ever seen, like in my entire life in one place. Like just tens of thousands of fruit flies.
And I've been to farms.
And they're more.
They're way more.
More.
Way more.
Oh, Time Tricks asks, what is something that you've successfully disputed and are extremely proud of getting it resolved in your favor? I don't find myself in a shitload of disputes like that. I mean, the closest thing would be like, with your internet service provider and they're fucking on your shit.
I mean, I think for us, although it didn't really end in our favor, it was like a middle ground, is with the Machinima stuff.
Oh, right, the guy that pretended to be you.
Yeah,
that's
the UK
crazy.
Or whatever. And
the short form of that story was the first contract we ever signed to make money on YouTube with Live TV ended up being a technically falsified contract. It was a guy that was illegally acting as a middleman with contracts from Machinima. So he would find channels that were big enough to generate funds, and then he would take the Machinima contract he personally had with Machinima and have you fill this out, and then he would make emails with your names in them.
But slightly changed. Like we're talking, the thing where, you could have an lowercase I instead of a lowercase, or
an uppercase,
uppercase I instead of a lowercase L.
Yeah.
And they would switch things. It was identity fraud. It was literally him getting a contract, going to us, pitching it as if he was Machinima,
and he
giving
took
us
like
a deal.
15 or 20%.
It was half.
Yeah,
it was literally
some
half.
crazy. Yeah,
it literally took half. It wasn't even 10-15%. And he basically then got contracts, acted as if he was us to Machinima.
Acted as Machinima with us.
Yes, Machinima thought that they were dealing with us, but they were dealing with him. And there was fake emails. And when we went to Machinima, because it all started when I started finding out how much people were making, like other YouTubers, which is something you didn't talk about too frequently with other people. So this went on for like a year. And once we found out, it just straight up.
I ran the numbers. I read the contract. I ran the numbers, and I was like, hold up.
Yeah. We're not getting what we're supposed to be paid. And what he was doing is he was getting paid. They were sending him the money, and then he was PayPaling us half of what it was.
And so by the end of the first year when we discovered this, and I remember calling him and doing legal threatening on the phone during my lunch break at work. I was in the fucking paper closet.
Yeah.
I'd go in the closet, and I was on my phone for my whole lunch break talking to this guy who was in the UK and threatening him with legal action, and we had all the evidence. Everything was there.
We had Skype messages. We did calls with him. We started recording calls.
Yeah.
We started having to trick him. We had to lead on that we didn't know what was going on for a minute, and then had to give a little bit of information. Then he started getting scared. Then he wouldn't answer the calls. He didn't want to get on Skype. He knew he was fucked. And then eventually he was like, I'll send you over X amount. I think he sent us over $7,500 or $6,000.
He owed us.
I don't know.
He owed us something around $20,000, and I think we ended up getting about half of that at best.
Yeah. I don't even think we got half
because he didn't have the money. He didn't have the money. He was spending all this money.
He just didn't have the money. He was basically stealing from other people to give us money. That's pretty much what happened. He just didn't have the funds. And he knew he was fucked. And then when we told Machinima and we got on call with Machinima, they were like, "Yeah, we dug deeper, and this guy has done this for a lot of people."
Is that he had 10 or more channels?
A dozen plus channels he was doing this for. And we at the end of the day, all we could do was really threaten him. There wasn't, if we had grounds to sue him. But he lived in the UK. We were never going to find this guy. It would have been a nightmare. We would have lost so much more money going after this dude than anything, right? So,
but thankfully, he didn't know better and just kind of
he was just scared. And he was also scared of his reputation, right? Because I think that's ultimate. I don't think it was more so the money, but he got right, and then he wanted to stay in the industry.
the legal shit wouldn't have come with us. Part of what I was threatening him with was I said, look. I remember this conversation because it was the day that he decided that he'd finally just get us the money, and he gave me a date by which he'd get us this money. And because he said, I said to him, look, the two things are going to happen here. We can explore, we are ready to explore suing you here for the money and then some.
Yeah.
And you're going to end up either giving us what you owe us now, or you're going to give us what you owe us and more, plus legal proceedings. And if it's not us, when we bring all of this to Machinima, if you think that we're not much of a legal threat, Machinima will ream your ass for fraud.
Well, and we're gonna come
under
out,
their name.
We're gonna come out publicly. We know your name. We're gonna come out. We're gonna show all this stuff, right? And he knew he was fucked, right? So it was just a lot of threats.
Yeah.
And it got us some money, and then we basically just cut our losses, right? We were just like, you know what?
Yeah.
You live and learn.
And then Machinima came in and actually signed us, and the rest
put us on their channel and
history.
And promote us. And we made good money off the they gave us pretty good CPM rates, and they tried to make up for it, but they still fucked up too. They knew
they fucked up too.
They fucked up big time. It's just dude, how do you guys let this happen? How do you not know?
Well, the answer was everything was being run by 23-year-olds that didn't
Yeah.
really know what the fuck they were doing. They
Yeah.
were just making fucking shitloads of money
And
because it
where
was
are
the
they now?
Wild West.
Where are they now? Where's Machinima? Dead.
Dead.
Super dead.
Uh,
So that's definitely one.
that's
we
dead. I
kinda-
would say that's
where
probably
we had to fight
it.
for something and we kind of got something back.
We spun that one out. Will stream? Oh, this comes from Dr. Samurai. Will streamers ever live stream on multiple platforms simultaneously, like Twitch and YouTube, at the same time? They already do.
No.
Just
Not
not,
if-
for
not if you want partnered.
not on contract. The some. I do know some that are on contract, but they are on contract for certain types of content, and so if they're doing, if it's content that is not specific to their contract with, and usually it's people that are like really like more minor fucking players, and on the YouTube side, but their contracts are getting, new contracts are getting more and more specific about that. Like some of the older grandfather Twitch contracts have more leeway than new contracts.
Yeah, I've streamed on YouTube before, and I've also we've streamed on YouTube
We did
as
a
well
podcast. Yeah.
You can do it. The technology's there. I mean, you can stream to YouTube, Facebook, fucking Twitch, all of them, all at the same time. The capability is there. The issue that you have is if you're partnered on at least Twitch. I only can speak for Twitch's thing because I understand their contract because I have one. You're not allowed to be streaming simultaneously on another platform with the same content and being partnered. So you can't make money on one platform and then also be making money on another platform simultaneously. There are tons of streamers on Twitch that stream on YouTube as well. And that's fine, to my knowledge, unless you've signed an exclusivity deal with Twitch or whatever. But
Yeah.
the majority of the partnerships, at least from when I was around, I don't know what the new ones are like.
They might be different now.
They might be different now, but as long as you're not streaming simultaneously, you should be okay. But you know, they're not gonna remove somebody's partnership on Twitch for having a partnership on YouTube from putting up videos. And if you want to do the odd stream on YouTube, they're not going to get rid of you. I think it's meant to be there so that Adam and I, say for example, we're not streaming. I mean, not like they give a fuck about the podcast, like they just wouldn't even care. But for example, pretend this podcast had 10,000 concurrent viewers. They're not going to want us as a partner with Twitch to also be streaming this on YouTube as well at the same time. To VOD it up there, fine. But they're not going to want that. Eventually, they're going to say, "Hey, yo, don't do that."
Yeah, exactly. That's a random question. Okay, what about this one? Dr. Samurai, Mr. Black, any advice on dealing with annoying in-laws?
No, my in-laws are
I don't
fine.
have I don't
Yeah, like-
really have any bad. I mean, I'm not married, but none of the relationships I've been in have come with annoying
No.
would-be in-laws.
Yeah, no. I mean, all you can do is
Learn to live with it.
Learn to live with it, right? There's that old saying, you're not marrying your wife, you're marrying their family. So like, you know, you got to know, you know, when you get married, this comes with the family and all the family problems and dramas. It's not like one of those things where you tell your significant other like, oh, it's just your family problems, just ignore them and whatever. It's their life, it's their family. It just comes with it. So you need to know what you're getting yourself into. But you know, I wouldn't want to see my in-laws every single week. You know what I mean? Like, I love my in-laws. They're great people and they're fun to be around. But like, I'm also a grown man with my own family, right? So like, it's one of these things where you need your space, you need your independence. Same with my parents, right? Kayla loves my parents, but we don't want to see my parents here all the time in my business and whatnot, because that would be annoying. But yeah, no, just I don't know. it's your family. You got to deal with it, man. Like there's no way there's no way around
there's no easy way around that.
No way around it.
You gotta learn to live with that shit.
Like Christmases and all that stuff. Like you just got to go and do it and just, bite your tongue and deal with it. It usually lasts a few hours. Now it's a different story if you live with your in-laws. Like if they're moving in your house, that's a whole different fucking,
Yeah, that's a different bag entirely.
Yeah.
Last question. Mark Furry asks, what's the worst COVID era job? Walmart greeter, restaurant host, specifically once they have to enforce vaccine passports. Nurse. Flat out. Anyone that bitches about their job, they think it's the worst COVID job. You don't have the worst COVID job unless you're in a fucking COVID wing as a nurse in a hospital, full stop. There is no competition to that. Secondary to that, when the vaccine passports roll out, it's going to be a son of a bitch for front of house at restaurants because they're the ones that are going to have to deal with all the customers coming in that are going to bitch about anything that they're, in terms of the vaccine passports, or even if it's a restaurant whose owner has decided that they want to keep masks, for example, as an interior unless they're sitting at the table, any front of house is going to be the one that takes the brunt of that shit. It won't be the waitress or waiter once they're in the restaurant, because at that point they're in. But at the door, whoever's being front of house that day is going to take a fucking beating from whoever, all the customers that try to come in that maybe aren't for whatever rules, depending on where you live, they might have. So that's going to suck. And that'll be the same for any customer-facing retail or service industry position, really. Theater, clothing store, restaurant, all of those people, whoever is going to be the one that has to, somebody's going to be designated manager on the floor. They're going to be the one that every day they wake up going to work and go, fuck me, I'm going to have to enforce the shit. And even if they agree with the policy, that's not the problem. The problem is that they're going to have to deal with customers that don't agree. And I mean, as anyone who knows who's dealt with customers before, they're already assholes. So add that on top of it. Holy shit. Fuck.
Yeah, the thought of needing a COVID passport to go to a restaurant or something, it isn't gonna fly. It isn't gonna go well. I do not. I
mean, the upshot is 80% of this province by the time that rolls out, almost 80%, 75, let's say, or so. It won't be a problem because they're all gonna have their double vax, 75%. So there's 25% holdout in the province of the ones that are gonna kick up all the shit, but still, whoever is at that front line who's gonna fucking deal with the customers that come through.
Well, not only that,
fuck.
You also get the employees. Like if the employees don't want to get vaccinated, there goes your job. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, to say the least. I do not envy.
I don't envy management anywhere when that rolls out.
Nope.
At all. And then whoever ends up being sitting at the front of the door, because really it is the majority are, at least here, it's different everywhere else, obviously, but here in Nova Scotia, it's the majority are not even single vax, but double vaccinated to this point by a long shot. And so it's, I don't think there's a massive number of workers in these positions that are likely not already vaxxed. But I can see for sure a lot of people, customers just fucking walking in and just they're already doing that shit with masks. Can you imagine? It'll just be a fucking, and masks were masks as a barrier to entry, way less work than double vaccination. So if there are people that were losing their shit over if you want to enter Walmart, you have to wear a mask. If they were already complaining about that, I can't even fathom the level of animosity that will come off of somebody for like an actual like double vaccination proof of coverage. Like that's going to be like a different fucking.
Well, I mean, it is a completely different thing. I mean, one
It's
is
a different animal.
They're two totally different things, right?
And one is, but like one is so simple, but they still complain about it anyway. It's like a mask.
One is so simple. The other one is you're injecting a vaccine into your system, which some people heavily disagree with. So that's and if you're gonna force somebody to do that, to enter an establishment, it's gonna be a shit show, and there's gonna be a lot of businesses gonna lose a lot of money and a lot of customers, and there's gonna be a lot of businesses that are gonna be like, no, I own my own fucking business. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can come in and do whatever. It's gonna be a fucking shit show. But yeah, masks and vaccinations is two different beasts.
Well, what I mean is just in comparison, if what I'm saying is if people already complain just about masks, like this is obviously. I think a lot of the people that are complaining about masks are people that are getting vaccinated, right? It's and the people that I mean, there's people on both sides.
There's a mix of both, but like this is like the other spectrum, because there are millions of people that are like, dude, I'm vaccinated. Why the fuck do I got to wear a mask? I'm vaccinated. And, they kind of have a point.
Well, the sore spot in Canada right now is Alberta is at 90% hospital capacity with over 70% vaccine coverage.
But I'm saying, like, for me, it's just like, dude, I'm double vaccinated. Yeah. Why am I still wearing a mask? It doesn't make any sense. Literally doesn't make any sense. I can still get COVID. I can still give COVID. I'm double vaxxed.
Which is why the mask is on ultimately in public spaces.
Yeah, that's but why. I mean, it can't stay on forever, right? So
no, not forever.
So that's why people are complaining about masks, because it's getting a little ridiculous. As for getting the vaccination, that's when people are like, they're against it religiously, or just don't agree with it, don't trust, whatever reason that they have, and then being told that they can't go to the grocery store they've been going to for 40 years, or church where they are the place of worship, or a public transportation, or their job. Hey, you're getting fired if you don't get vaccinated. That's a whole nother fucking ball game. There's gonna be so many lawsuits. It's gonna be a shit show. It's gonna be an absolute shit show, and that's why I don't think ultimately it's gonna play out that way. I think there's just a lot of. I don't know. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. So just like whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm vaccinated, so just like I don't envy management at these establishments that will have to enforce whatever public health protocols get put in place. I don't envy here in Canada. I don't envy premiers that have to ultimately make the choice, because you've got, depending on what province you step foot into, you're talking about wildly different. Like quite a gradient. Like you've got here in Nova Scotia, who's arguably weathered the storm better than any other province in the country. In fact, I'm pretty sure we just flat out are, I think, statistically across the board, per capita or otherwise.
Yeah.
And I think that's for good reason. I think our public health measures have, by and large, been the reason for that.
Well, we're a destination.
And we're a
small city. We're
and we also, right? But even with the size, like we also know that during the period in which we did release all of our restrictions, or the vast majority during that holiday break back in March, it was immediately what then took 2 to 3 months to beat the numbers back down after what popped up, and then the public health measures crushed the numbers back down again. As well. And then in New Brunswick here just recently, who's also similarly at vaccination levels, they're fighting a pretty massive uprun. But the worst by far is Alberta, who has almost the same vaccination rates we do, but are at 90% because they opened in July. So about 4 to 6 weeks worth of no restrictions, no masks, no public health measures, because they hit, I guess their ideal was, the premier said, we hit our vaccination rate, so we're just going to open. They're now at 90% hospital capacity.
Like, that's the thing. Alberta is a travel hub. Like, it's like Ontario. You got people, a lot of people that work in Alberta live in other provinces. A lot. Like a fuck ton. And there has been a lot of traveling back and forth, and it's just gone to shit. The reason why we've done well is because we cut off pretty much everything, and we were like this little tiny, like little island almost. And you know, we had proper health measures, in our government, thank God, was just like, yeah, shut it down. We ain't fucking around, and we did a good job. So, you know, what can you do when you're dealing with like, you know, 40 million people opposed to 1 million people? It's harder to control numbers that are just infinitely bigger, right? So, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a shit show, and I do not envy anybody in the retail space when it comes to what's going to happen here in the next 6 months as everything just starts opening up.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute gong show for sure. Last question to round it out, because it's a real short one, and I don't even know where this question could possibly come from, but I have to ask because it's so random. Dean Eves asks, and what, in your opinion, is the least useful key on the keyboard?
The one I use the absolute least is scroll lock. I got a scroll lock button.
I'm trying to think of like a key that's on every keyboard, because some of these are like
end.
Yeah, because there's like end and home, which is top and bottom of a web page, or similar to. But I've never used them for that purpose. The only time that we've ever used it was we mapped end to record when we did StarCraft back in the day.
That's right. Way back when, because it was never used. It was never used.
Because it's never used, so you could just use the end key. Actually, no, you know what though? It was used because in StarCraft, when you pressed end, it would zoom the camera all the way down.
Oh, that's right.
And so we knew the recording started because it zoomed into the ground as well. And that's why if you go back to old ITV content, a lot of those old videos, the video starts with Jeff scrolling back out at the beginning of the video because end also zoomed in. I would say for me, I have a pause key in the top right, which I don't know what the fuck that key even does. I don't know what it pauses, but it's there.
Yeah, actually, I don't use that either.
And so that one I really don't know.
And I also don't use the slash beside the number lock, because I always use the other slash. Like there's already one on the keyboard. I shift question mark or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
As a secondary.
I never use that one. Ever.
Well, is that do you have one with a numpad on yours?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why that slash is there, is because it's like for just doing like, you know, one-handed operation type shit. Otherwise, you'd never fucking use that slash. I have a 10 keyless, so mine doesn't even have a number pad. I got the fuck that. I never use a number pad for anything, so I just bought a keyboard that was a little bit smaller. There you go. What a random question. But that's how we're going to end it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's another Tech Golf Podcast. Thank you for stopping by. Uh-oh. Don't you do it. Don't you fucking... This streaming PC has been acting real funny. 2 Windows updates has not been good on this computer.
I ain't touching no updates.
We gotta get the shit out of here, ladies and gentlemen, before the wheels all fall off. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you once again, and until we see you, have a good one. Stay safe out there, and peace!
Peace.